Alrighty, welcome back guys to another gun build, or actually a loadout build in Modern Warfare, and today we're actually going to be looking at something a little bit different, something I've never really gone over through all my other loadout builds, and this is going to be what I'm going to be calling the one-man army. Now it's not like one-man army from, I believe, Modern Warfare 2, where you're able to, in mid-match, switch over to a different loadout and get all your extra, like, grenades and stuff back for, like, underbarrel rocket or underbarrel grenade launchers, other known as the noob tube. But what we're going to be doing is essentially going to turn you into a one-man mortar team, and this can either come in ways of like being more of a support role and uh, helping out your team, and let's say like one of the ground war maps, promenade, I believe is what they called it. It's like the 3-lane ground war map that is just like really hectic in the middle. But anyway, it's really easy for you to get a bunch of kills because a bunch of enemies are kind of grouped up together, and a lot of people do a large amount of grenade spamming. So essentially, what I'm going to be turning you into is a mortar team, and this is how you're going to be doing it. So you want to be running both assault rifles for your primary and secondary. I believe just about every one of them will be able to have this option except for the AS Val. That's the only outlier I think that's in the entire group of assault rifles. Every single assault rifle except for the AS Val is able to do this. But what you'd want is any kind of setup that you want for any of the attachments, but what you're going to want is sleight of hand and the underbarrel grenade launcher, either being what I found to be some of the best is either the smoke grenade variant or the high explosive. So you can be a high explosive one, turning you into more of a mortar, or you can use a smoke grenade combined with the other two grenades that you'll be getting for spares, and it's going to essentially turn you into a poor man's white phosphorus. And you get to essentially smoke out the entire area, turn it to where all your teammates will get a bunch of points in there. Or if you want to, I believe they also have a recon one, yeah, so it shoots out snapshot rounds. So if you want to get a large amount of intel on enemies and stuff, you can absolutely use that. So you can do that. So I'm going to be using the smoke one for this one and switch off for explosives, so I can show you guys how that stuff works. And again, all the other attachment slots you would want, uh, anything that you want to put on the deck out your class, and the perks, at least for your primary one or the one that you're going to be using the most, you want to put on sleight of hand. That makes it to where your reload speed for the grenade launcher is a lot faster, so you're able to get out more in a quicker time frame. Now, it used to be that amped was the way of doing that because it says faster weapon swap and rocket launcher reload speed. That did apply to the grenade launchers, but they actually changed it back or changed it over to sleight of hand that does that, so it works out. So you want to be doing that. So keep this whole setup for that, and that's going to be really good. And then you have a secondary one, only have 2 attachments on this one, but have any other assault rifle as underbarrel. I just have the Scar because it kind of looks cool with its grenade launcher. It's just been reskinned. It works like all the other ones, but same deal. You want to have the same type of grenade going for the second one, so they can technically pull from the same ammo pool. You want to put this one on fully loaded, so instead of them both sharing one grenade each, they will now have one that actually go back and forth. So you have a total of 3 grenades they can use. So this will make it to where that you have 3 grenades that you'll be firing out to be able to light people up from the air, which is really cool. So you essentially become the cluster strike, but always there, which is really cool. So it's a really neat deal. So you'll have that, and yeah, so you're able to rain down a bunch of smoke on them if you want to. So you'll have 3 smoke grenades coming out of your gun, and you also want to go over to perk 3 and put on amped, so you're able to switch between rifles faster. And then for perks, you want to put on cold-blooded or anything that you want there. Scavenger doesn't apply to grenade launchers, so unfortunately that doesn't really work out. Overkill, obviously you'll need that for the 2 grenade or the 2 rifles to do this. And then amped for the weapon swap. And then for specialist, this is what I recommend putting on, so you can actually have more stuff. You can get restock, and this will give you more and more grenades over time. And then eventually you want to put on shrapnel. You can actually go back and forth on any one of these. I go with shrapnel because that will give it to where you have 2 grenades right off the bat, or actual hand grenades that you get to throw out, which will pretty much go just as far as the normal like launch grenades if you throw them up high enough, and they will have plenty of an actual delay. By the time they land, they'll be able to blow up and hit someone accurately. And then you can do whatever the heck you want afterwards. I recommend putting on tune-up so you're able to have your munitions box faster or anything like the sort, so you can put that on, and that will essentially give you your entire deck of killing people with this stuff. I put on also like quick fix. You can put this on, and that makes it to where that every time you kill an enemy, you know, your health is boosted up. It doesn't really do anything for you really. But yeah, so it's a real cool deal that you can put on. So I don't know, it helps you out in some way, I guess. Or if you want to, you can put on EOD, takes, you know, reduce explosive damage. So this one's more of a stealth kind of setup. So why we're going to be running fully loaded on this thing, like I said, like it gives you a spare grenade. So you both will start with 1 grenade in each grenade launcher, because they both have 1 by default, and you'll have 1 to share, so you're able to reload really quickly. Both of them will be using the same type of grenade unless you want to use different types. If you do use different types, then you only have 1 of like smoke grenade and the other one for high explosives, so it's going to be kind of odd for that, so I don't recommend that. So you really want to go all out. Lethals, I went with a grenade just for standard stuff, so if you want to swap it over to high explosives, you can combine this with frag grenades and with shrapnel. It makes it to where it's really good. So you get to fire out 3, 4, 5 different grenades that you can just toss or shoot over a wall or anything like in Promenade. All those 32 something people kind of stacked up on each other will get bombarded like no tomorrow. And I mean, if you die, you just respawn, you have all your stuff right back. You have the 3 smoke grenades coming out. You can also toss the normal one out. Unfortunately, you can't stack that with shrapnel. That shrapnel only gives you lethals instead of the actual tactical. But you do get one back every 25 seconds when you get free stock, which will be my choice for the very first, um, I guess, perk for specialist, which you should get pretty fast with this. So this is also a really good way of you getting free points in a bunch of games. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into a small match of Hackney, and I'll show you this. A really good setup I recommend putting with this thing is thermal scopes, or get your teammates to be running thermal scopes, and also make it to where that you can use your drone or your flying drone. If you're not using a munitions box, put on the flying drone or the recon drone, and you'll be able to scan people through the smoke and stuff, so they'll be oblivious to what's going on.
Enemy threats in the AO.
So I
Weapons
shoot
hot.
2, 3, and toss it over, and that's 4 smoke grenades all covering up the map. So you can only see the one right here, but in an actual match you'll be way further back. Like there's 1, 2, there's one on the other end. So let me go ahead and die real quick, and I'll show you guys again, because the drone's better to show you guys the whole coverage.
Still in the house.
Target down.
Well, if I don't die, that is. Probably shouldn't have put in the bots, to be honest with you. But let me do that again. So fire 1, fire 2, hurry up and swap, do that. And then switch over to drone. And now you have an entire map blanketed with smoke. Gives you plenty of smoke to use to, you know, blind a bunch of people for a good while. And you just mark them with your drone. Obviously, if they're running cold-blooded, you can't really do anything. And also, you know, you can light them up with thermals so you can, you know, still see them. So it absolutely works for that if you want to. This is a really underrated kind of field upgrade, really, for that whole drone. Especially when you can give them the Amazon delivery package of C4. It's a real solid deal. So you can use that. And yeah, and then you get kills along the way. You know, just drop whatever the heck you want, really, for any of that. So for like longer ground war modes, I go with more things that are like DMR kind of builds, like the Odin for longer ranges. You want to run that. or the FAL would be a good option, or the AN94, which is all really good. So all these guns are real solid. I just use
We've taken
the
the lead.
M13 because it's one of my favorite guns in this game, so I'll have that. And of course, you know, when you want to switch it over to the more lethal, and this is really where you guys want to have more of this instead of the support option, you guys want to just, you know, full out decimate everyone in the entire deal. You can't absolutely do that. You can probably swap out amped for shrapnel, and this will make it to where that, yeah, you do switch over a little bit slower, but it's alright, it's not too bad at all. But you're able to do that. Oh, if I don't die. But yeah, so you're able to fire 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And see, got 1 kill like that. So this is what I mean. So you're able to launch an entire dang deal of this kind of stuff, and then you'll get at least 1 kill out of that, and you'll also be getting restock, so you keep getting your stuff back, and then just keep on firing. So it's an actual really good deal. So what I would try to do is go into ground war maps and stuff, and then try to play with friends, and then see, you know, like how far or like where you need to stand at to get certain grenades out in a certain area. So if you really want to light them up, get the most effectiveness out of it, then you do that. Run munitions box, and then you'll be able to just keep laying around with these guys.
Enemy at the warehouse.
And of course, you don't need to just use it like shooting it like a mortar. You can, you know, just straight up hit someone with it if you want to. Their range is not the best, so when it comes to that, so I would rather shoot them like mortars.
Specialist achieved.
And downhill fast.
But yeah, it's a real solid deal. So I wanted to show that, and obviously, you know, when you get enough, you'll be able to get all the perks in the game. So this means like obviously all the perks normally, like that you would get for like all the perks that you'd be able to put onto your guy, but you also get every single perk that's gun perks. So if you didn't already see there, my reload speed on my SCAR, which is running fully loaded, reloads way faster now. So after a while, just more kills you get, when you hit 8 kills, you'll be able to essentially just become an absolute one-man army kind of deal.
Ready to go.
So you just keep pumping out more and more shots. So yeah, definitely recommend this in like more of the promenade kind of map, or let's see, Anaya Palace, I believe that's how you say it. Any of the smaller, like more 3-lane maps
Back
kind of
behind the
deal.
barrel.
For ground war maps, or a little bit more like, you know, 3-lane or smaller kind of setup. I recommend doing that stuff. So they don't really have much in the way of sniping you or anything like that. You can really use this thing, because this thing is a mortar essentially, but it's a very inaccurate one unless you know exactly where you're shooting at. And there's actually a whole build set up for a longer range one that I'll go over in a little bit. It's not going to be in this one, but it's going to be later on. But you want to be... Oh, look at that, I got a hit marker all
I
from
get
all the way up
mad
there.
and I get even. Back
So
at
that's
it.
what I mean. So yeah, so I'll go over the other longer range mortars so you guys can hit the snipers and stuff. And that one's going to be a little bit harder to show for very longer ranges, but it's absolutely a thing. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this loadout build. I think it's really cool because, to be honest with you, it gives you a lot of free kills, and you can absolutely stack this thing up because essentially, you know, your perk 1 skill doesn't really help you in any way for the class setup, so you can run kill chain if you want to. You get a bunch of free kills off of grenades and stuff, and then get your first kill streak. Let's say the Wilson or the tank, which usually people gravitate more towards the tank
I don't
because you can
forgive
take
or
an absolute
forget.
beating before going down, and you can still keep killing a bunch of people, and it still is a kill streak, so it will count towards your next kill streak, essentially ensuring that you get yourself an A10 or not an A10 Warhawk, but what is it, like a Harrier, or like the actual like VTOL jet if you want that, or the AC-130, or the Juggernaut suit. If you want the Juggernaut suit, you can absolutely get that, so that kind of ensures the Juggernaut suit if you can pop off with it. So yeah, so that's a real cool deal. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one.